Hey, welcome everyone to the Social 333 podcast. My name is Chris Bentley. I'm your host, and today my guest is Celeste Moore. Hey, Celeste, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Awesome, no problem. So I know, and we talked a little bit about, or talked a little off camera, but I know you're into fashion, which is really cool. Myself, I have a whole, I wouldn't say a whole, but I definitely have 8 or 9 suits that are custom and well, let's just back up a little bit. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and I'll tell you about my experience with custom clothes. Let's do that.
Okay, cool. So I've been a certified image consultant for over 18 years. So I help entrepreneurs, C-suites, influencers really master, discover their own unique style so they can command any room. And on that note, with custom suiting, I work with a celebrity designer in New York, and we do custom suiting. And
Very nice.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear about your story.
Yeah, so to like the audience, I mean, I think as a guy, I can't really speak for anybody else, but for guys, like, I always went to, and it was a lot of my fault of like my mother, right? And so like my mother didn't know anything about custom stuff, and it wasn't really like a big thing. So I would go with her, and we would go to like, I guess it's like a Macy's now, but back then it was Woodard and Lothrop because I'm old like that. And then we go there and like we would try on like suits or like sports jackets, and they had like these shoulder pads in it, and like it was just weird and bulky, and it kind of makes you look like a square pants, like Bob SquarePants kind of deal, right? And then I met somebody that was into fashion consulting and kind of put me on the right track, and I got my first custom suit. And if you're a dude and you don't have a custom suit, like, you're really missing out. And it tells a lot about you as well. Like when I walk into a room with a custom suit, not only is it custom and it looks good on me and it fits correctly, it also shows that like you have, I hate to say this, but you have money, right? Like you have enough money to buy a custom suit. When I didn't have money, I was doing a lot of networking events, didn't really have much. This is back when I just started selling real estate, and I'd go into these rooms with people that were doing like venture capital and doing like, a networking group, and it was like all lawyers, right? And I'm walking in, and I got like this cheap suit that my mother picked out for me for like 15 years ago. And I'm walking in, and like people in there have like custom stuff, custom shoes, and I was like blown away. And I was like, okay, well, I need to step up my game if I'm going to get anybody's business, because like I just look like totally bad, like bad. And like I got a custom suit. So like, I know that was a long story, but anyway, tell me a little bit about like your business. I know like kind of we talked about like your branding and like the stuff that you do, like kind of tell the audience more about like kind of what you do.
Yeah. I love that story too. I have to tell you though, really quick, is that when you have a custom suit, the reason why you come across as, you say, people who have money, right? But it's the fit, it's the fabric, and a lot of times it's the colors that you're wearing. So that sends huge messages. So,
and the confidence too.
Oh yeah. What that does for you is create huge confidence. You can walk into any room and just own it. So yeah, what I do with my clients is they come to me and they're either in a transition period, they're moving up the ladder in corporate, or they're getting in front of high-end media or magazines. And so they don't know what to wear. They don't know how to represent themselves. So I help them really dial in like who they are in their like their personality. And I bring that on the outer appearance. So it doesn't only match who they are, but it also matches their professional and personal goals. I start with a color analysis. It's a 4x4 color analysis. And that determines, based on your personality, your undertone, your eyes, your hair, like what best colors work for you. And then I talk about color psychology, because every color sends a message, and I make sure that it's dialed in with their personal brand or the professional brand. I do a style assessment and a body analysis, so that basically like having that perfect fit not only sends credibility, but you're more professional, right? People are going to take you seriously. They're going to build that trust and credibility just by what you're wearing before you open your mouth.
Oh, I agree. My business went from selling like $200,000 to $300,000 homes into the 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s and 8s. And like as I went, I bought more custom suits. And then, you can only wear so many. Like you can only wear like one at a time, right? So like I got enough where like I'm good. Like I'm sure I can buy more. Like the fashion changes all the time. But yeah, it creates you as a better you. It gives you confidence. Talk a little bit about just kind of like where we're at with fashion. I mean, myself, like I'm a really big like gray and blue person. Sometimes I'll mix in like a purple. But for the most part, like that's kind of how it is for me. Kind of tell like the audience, like kind of what you're seeing with men's fashion, women's fashion.
Yeah. It's a great question because I was just again at fall or winter New York Fashion Week. I get invited every year to a couple celebrity designers that I work with and collab with. And so it's really interesting to see that athleisure, like that whole comfort look is going out. And really what's kind of in fashion right now is a more tailored look, which works for me, right? But also what's out there is really different, really kind of eclectic looks depending on what you like, colors and styles, like a lot of mixed fabrics. So they're going like leather and lace and fabrics, denim and leather. So some really cool looks. The designer I work with, she just did Will Smith's outfit for the Grammys that he was supposed to perform at the Grammys and he didn't. He got cut last minute, but she still designed his outfit and it was really cool, like denim and leather kind of mixed bag with a hoodie and stuff. So it's really kind of cool. But really what it boils down to is, it doesn't matter what's in fashion. It matters what resonates with your personality, with your goals. So it's really, you could be a timeless person and classic person, or you could be someone that's a little bit more dramatic in their clothing.
Yeah, I was going to just about jump into that because I know you work with like celebrities, like ball players and stuff like that. And if you're into sports, I'm trying to get away from it. But like if you're into sports and you watch like draft night or you watch NBA or NFL draft night, you see a lot of people now coming up with just stuff to kind of get people buzzing. Like they'll have interior pockets or they'll have like different insides or they'll have, you name it. They try to mix it up. And I think now it's kind of gotten to the point where it's kind of like the NBA All-Star game with the dunk contest. Like you've only dunked the ball so many times before, like it's just gotten out of control. But talk a little bit about that. Like, what are you seeing with like a lot of, like, I know you deal with celebrities and stuff like that. Like, what are you seeing? Is it just like a one-time run kind of deal? Or are they like actually going through the phases of like, dressing better and stuff like that? Because I know that, like you said, the comfortable stage was like a big thing, and I didn't really like the comfortable stage, but yeah, like I know that was a really big thing. So kind of talk about that.
Well, you have like a mixed bag. You saw Adam Sandler, right, the other night with basically saying, F you, I'm wearing my hoodie, my gym shorts or whatever, because I don't care.
And you go play basketball next day.
Basically, in his basketball gear. Right. And then you've got people that actually really love fashion. So this event that I just went, like Fabulous was at, and Chance the Rapper, and like all these people, and they really love fashion. So I think that it's really a mixed bag in the sense that you can do whatever you want. You can experiment and have fun, or you can just like, if you're so big and you just don't give a shit anymore about like really what's happening. But that also sends a message, right? You've got the guys that are saying like, well, I don't respect you enough to show up to a major event like Academy Awards in basketball shorts because I just don't care. But you're also saying so much more with that.
Right.
So, I think it's fun to have like experiment with fashion. I think you should see, like, if you don't know, go try some stuff on. Don't be afraid of color. Don't be afraid of different styles until you find kind of what you like.
That was my biggest issue. Like I would wear black, like a black suit with like a black shoes and like a black belt. And my fashion consultant was like, what is this? Are you going to a funeral? And I was like, no, like, that's what I thought you wear. You watch, was that a show like Mad Men or whatever, right? And you're just like, oh, everybody wears black. But like, that's really not the case. And I see a lot of like, and I'm not trying to point anybody out, but I see a lot of men like they'll get a gray suit and not wear brown pants, but wear like black shoes, and I'm like, somebody needs to dress you better. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's one of my pet peeves. Talk about your travel and stuff. So I know like you go out and talk to celebrities and you deal with like high end and like C-suite and people all over the country. How often do you travel? Like to go like size people up, get new fashion out? Like talk to me about that.
I would say minimum 3 times a month, maximum probably 6.
Wow.
Which is quite a bit. But all my neighbors are like, we don't know where you're at this day or this hour, but yeah, you'll see my social media, see where I'm at. Yeah, but I'm meeting them all over LA, Miami, Vegas, New York. It's, a few at home, but not too many. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at. I do go overseas sometimes to for very select clients. So we'll shop in Milan and Paris. So
wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
Super fun.
Yeah, I bet. One of my wardrobe dressers, I guess, or my fashion people, he has like a whole company that does suits, and he's from Turkey, so he gets like a lot of his actual material from Turkey.
Yeah,
which is really cool. Then he'll build the suit in Turkey, and then he'll ship it to me, which is real cool. I don't want to get too geeky with this stuff, but like I know, I don't know if that the audience knows, but like thread count is really big, just like it would be for sheets. So like the larger thread count you get, obviously, like the better quality. I know I'm talking about it like I'm the expert, but I'm not.
I love it.
Yeah, so I love that stuff. Talk to me a little bit about like your own branding. Like I know you're doing some stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just like for me personally, I've always been a classic elegant, but I'm also really creative too. Some things I put together and I'm like, it works for me, but it might not work for somebody else. Yeah. So I walk the walk, and I think that's important to be able to trust me, just because I've been in the industry for 18 years and helped celebrities and whatever. But it's like going to a dentist who has really bad teeth. You're like, I don't trust you. So I've got to walk the walk, right? It's just who I am. So yeah, a lot of branding is just so important. It's like you're your own billboard. So just think of that. It doesn't matter like where you're at in life. Like if you're at the grocery store and you don't have to wear a suit in a grocery store, but just know that you might see someone who you could potentially do business with or strike up a conversation. So just be in your best grocery store wear as well. I just like to put that out there because you never know who you're going to meet. Can't remember who said it, but she always used to say, like, always get dressed even on an airplane because you never know if you'll meet the queen. This was when she was alive. So, just keep those things in mind in the back of your head all the time.
Yeah, I've noticed that if I dress up, not in a full suit, but if I just dress up like slacks and a button down and I go and a nice watch and I go to the airport with brown shoes, like they just treat me differently. It's always Mr. Bentley, like, over here, here, sir. When I just wear like a hoodie or a t-shirt, it's totally different. It's just totally different service. Cause they don't know who you are and they just see you dress well. And it's just like, oh, who is this guy? He must be important. And then, off you go. So it's definitely like very good to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
One thing you said, I'm going to just touch on, like you said, you used to wear a lot of black versus color. So the first thing that you notice when you see someone is color, and every color sends a message. So keep that in mind too. Like what is your message as a business person, and who is your audience? So make sure that you are keeping those, like your strategies down, because then you're going to land your message even harder when you actually speak. But black does a couple of things. Black, you can't escape, right? It's everywhere. It is elegant and it should be worn on certain occasions. But other than that, black really says a couple things. It allows you to stay put in the back. It allows you to stay hidden. So there's a lot of introverts that wear black because color says, here, look at me, pay attention to me. And so a lot of people you'll find that wear black because of that.
Yeah, I wore black. I'll tell you what my mother was doing, but I would do it for like formal events and stuff like that. And then I ended up getting a custom-made tux, which was like a different, I think it was like gray and some other colors, blue. And people would be like, wow, like that's a really great tux. And it really wasn't. I mean, no knock to the person that created it, but it was just great because everybody else was black and I'm in a gray suit and people are like, oh, like this guy is different. And I got like a lot more noticed. And I definitely agree with that. I also definitely agree with matching, and this is where like somebody like yourself comes in, like matching it to you. So like if you're a tall gentleman, right, like you definitely want to wear like tall colors versus, or stripes or not stripes, right? Like there's just a lot of different options versus somebody that isn't as tall. Like you definitely want to kind of shy away from certain things to make yourself look bigger or taller. I've found that as well. Outside of that, let's talk about a little bit about celebrities. Like you'll go out and like measure like a ball player, or let's say they're getting ready for the draft. Like, what are you finding? Like, I know a lot of them just never even owned a suit, right? Like it's just like they may have a suit for like church and that's about it.
Yeah. So it's a whole process. Like what differentiates me from a stylist, just to like touch on that really quick, is that I'm educated in a holistic approach. So I learn about color, style, etiquette, body language. So it's a whole package, where a stylist just puts like a bunch of clothes that he or she gets from a designer and just creates like a look. And so here, it doesn't matter if it fits you well or looks good on you, but this is what I got for you. And so I like to preface that because when I go meet these clients, if they've never had a suit, we go through the process where I'm finding their best colors. I'm finding like what are their goals, and I'm measuring them for their body biometrics so that their vertical and horizontal lines are, I measure these so that I know what looks good on your body. So you're proportioned properly, because we want to pay attention to you and your message and what you're saying, not necessarily like, oh, there's something's off about that person. I don't know what it is, but it's distracting me and I can't pay attention to what they're saying right now because I can't stop looking at this one thing. So we want to create proportion and balance with that. And then it's really about like, again, picking the fabrics, picking the colors, like what is their message? And then we create that look for them.
I agree 100%. Like I can't say enough. I mean, if you don't have a custom suit and you're a guy, you definitely need to. I can't say enough. But with that, where can somebody find you? If somebody wants to get fitted, or they want to get some custom clothes, or they want to just talk to you about fashion, like where can they find you?
Sure. Probably Instagram. It's at Celeste Moore Image. And then my website, celestemoore.com. It's moore.com. You can check out my podcast if you want to learn about style, fashion, image tips. It's Moore Style, Moore Style. Yeah. You can send me a DM, a message. You can jump on a call with me if you have any questions. So yeah.
And you travel.
Yes, and I come to you. Yeah. So.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Definitely appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.